The first exercise I'd like to tackle is actually a stretch, the classical ballet stretches. So I'm here with Pilates instructor Callie, and she's going to demonstrate these stretches for me. Now before we start, notice that I've placed this ladder barrel on a sacrificial yoga mat. So in many studios, you've got a slick wood floor, perhaps Spanish tile, and therefore this ladder barrel, while it is fairly heavy, it can move. So therefore, if you're a studio owner or if you're placing one of these ladder barrels inside your home, I would recommend for series such as this to put something underneath so you have a non-slip surface so the ladder barrel doesn't move. The last thing that you want is for your client to get injured only because the equipment was moving on them and they didn't expect that. So I'm going to start with the hamstring ballet stretch. And as I said earlier in the previous video, the distance of this barrel from the ladder must be customized to every single individual that you put on this. So I'm going to have Callie stand facing the barrel with her body up against the ladder. Now, whether she rests back against that or whether she's a little bit away doesn't matter for now because I'm just going to measure her. So, Callie, could you place your hands on the ladder just to have a little bit more safety, and place one leg of your choice up on top of this barrel. All right, now before we have her do anything, look at the position that your client is in. For this particular stretch, you want to make it so that the apex, the top of this barrel, fits right here in this curve underneath her lower leg. So right where the Achilles tendon and the calcaneus are. The calcaneus is your heel bone. So in this instance, this ladder, the barrel, is a little bit too close to my client. As you can see, there's a gap right here. What happens is, if she were to attempt to do the stretch right now, because this is not customized for her, it could hyperextend this knee. So in this instance, I would say I'd want to move this barrel a little bit further out. So please come on off of there, and I'll take the time to come in and adjust this. So right now this was at a setting of number 4. So let's put this out maybe 2 notches, 5 and 6. Now notice when I do this, I've moved it. However, the barrel has not clicked in. So I don't know if you can hear this through the microphone, but there's a little click as that drops in. What you don't want to do is unlock the barrel, push it halfway, and right now it's unlocked. It can move on you. So you need to hear that click. Now occasionally what will happen is you'll get lucky and you're able to put that exactly in because you've adjusted the barrel perfectly, and when you let go of the pedal, it'll drop right into place. If that's the case, beautiful. But even so, I'd recommend that you shake this a little bit to make sure that it's in the right spot. All right, Callie, please come here. And I'd like for you to measure yourself again. Place one leg on top, and it's still a little bit too close in towards her. So we're gonna have to adjust again. Come on off. Now that actually looks pretty good. So how does that feel? Good. Excellent, excellent. So at which point, this is now customized to her. What I'd recommend is that at that point, you memorize what setting she's on. She's on the number 7 setting. Now that being said, if your client gets more flexible, or perhaps they went for a run and they're a little bit less flexible, even this setting can change back and forth. So now that we have this, a couple of things to know about the hamstring stretch is that you need to know hamstring anatomy. You have inner and outer hamstrings. The inner hamstrings are your semimembranosus and your semitendinosus. Your outer hamstrings are your bicep femoris, the long head and the short head. The reason why this is important is because your hamstrings, the inner and the outer hamstrings, have differing levels of flexibility. Usually, universally, the inner hamstrings are a little bit tighter on people. They're also capable of a little bit less force. The outer hamstrings have more flexibility. So in this case, if I have Callie lean forward so that she can stretch over her leg, I'm going to skip a lot of the choreography just to make a point here. I'm going to show you how far she can go. So have your arms out in front of you and then curl forward, and let's mark here how far she can go with her fingers. All right, come on back up, please. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this leg turn outwards laterally. And not only that, I'm going to really make this more evident. So hold on to that. Could you move the leg out towards me a bit more and turn it out quite a bit? Now when the leg is this turned out, she's going to have greater range of motion. In fact, watch this. So as her arms come forward, as she drops in, she's going to get significantly greater range of motion. The reason that is she's basically cheated by having the leg turned out. Right, come back up. If you have the leg slightly out and turned out, what you're really doing is you're bypassing the tighter inner hamstring muscles. So what you want to do, now here's the thing. If you are attempting to stretch all of the hamstring muscle groups, then sure, have your client do the stretch with the leg both here, right in front of her hip, and straight up and down parallel, and turned out. However, more than likely, if your client is being asked to do this stretch and you ask them to go as far as you can, more than likely your client, trying to make you as the Pilates teacher happy, is going to try to stretch as far as they can. And therefore, they'll probably sneak this leg into an external rotation because they feel they can go further. Some people do this unconsciously. The legs will just fall out to the side. So what I would tell you is this. Should you then, does this mean you never stretch the lateral side of the leg? Absolutely not. However, make sure you also stretch the inner hamstrings. And to do that, you want to have the leg straight in front of your hip, like this. So pay attention to this leg. The easiest way to do that is to literally look at the leg and see if there's any type of rotation in the thigh bone. Or educate your client in order to keep their foot perfectly straight up and down, and then you do this stretch. Okay, so that's the details about how to rotate and where to position your leg. Now let's go into how the stretch is actually built.